Now, for some perspective on a Biden re-election run, we're going to turn to Calvin Dark. He is a political analyst and the principal and co-founder of RC Communications. Calvin, President Biden's age is brought up a lot. I've had multiple conversations about this when it comes to his re-election. Will Republicans launch age attacks considering Donald Trump is 76?
Well, hi, Lauren. I think definitely age is a factor for those who support President Biden and those who don't, Democrats and Republicans, and it's a very valid concern. So right out of the gate, that's going to be something that President Biden is going to have to address and take it on directly to kind of ease those concerns. Now, when it comes to how this may be used against him, maybe by the Republicans, I do think they'll have a hard time considering that Donald Trump is just slightly younger. And I think what'll also be interesting is if we look at some of the candidates like Ambassador Nikki Haley and potentially others who have used age in this campaign as an issue, what'll be interesting to see is how they use it against Trump for the primary and potentially foreshadowing what they would do against Biden on the age question in the general.
When we put age aside, what are the key issues for voters in this election?
Well, I think the main key issue is the one that always is, and that's the economy. And I think that particularly after COVID, economic concerns have been increased than they were, say, from the last election. So I think that's going to be the major concern. And I think that there are a lot of domestic issues that are going to be really high up on voters' priority list. We have the fight to protect women's reproductive rights. We have gun reform legislation. And I think that the American people are going to really see if they like divided government. As we know, have the White House in one party and the House of Representatives in another. So I think this is going to be mainly the economy, but some other issues that haven't always been a priority in the past.
Okay, turning back to Biden and his campaign, what are the achievements that Biden can point to, and what are the areas that Republicans will attack? I imagine economy is going to be one of them.
Well, I think that that's going to be the next major challenge for President Biden. Once he talks about, the concerns of his age, he needs to do a good job of explaining why he deserves a new term. He can't assume that all Americans are aware of what he's been able to accomplish legislatively. So he's going to need to talk about the infrastructure bill. He's going to want to talk about the legislation that helped us get out of COVID. He's going to talk about his successes in trying to decrease gun violence. I think that the Republicans are going to attack him first on the economy. I also think they're going to attack him on international relations, the withdrawal from Afghanistan, U.S. leadership with Ukraine. However, I don't think that those issues will have a big emphasis. They won't be in the big emphasis in the minds of voters for the election.
Why do you think no major challenger for Democratic nomination has emerged? I mean, will progressives vocally back Biden?
Well, I think that there are several Democrats who could run and could have a really good chance of winning, but partly by tradition and, just wanting to support the president in power of that party. That's why Biden has been, nobody's challenged Biden. I think that's why you've seen a big push by Democrats for him to make the decision, because if he were not to run, they need to get somebody else out there and garner support for them. I do think you're going to see Democrats coalesce around Biden, but what you are also going to see, at least in the beginning, are progressive Democrats who are going to talk about his age. And they're also going to talk about what they perceive as lukewarm enthusiasm for their progressive policy priorities. So I don't think they're ever going to not support Biden, but I do think they are going to let Biden and the other Democrats know where they stand.
Well, we're certainly starting to see that with the polling that Andrew Rafferty was just talking about. Another question for you, if you could quickly here. If the election comes down to another match between Biden and Trump, how will this one be different from 2020?
sequels are hardly as good as the original. But if we have to see it again, I think one key difference is Trump will be the outsider, and he'll be solely focused on his campaign. And that means attacking Biden and the Democrats. I think that for Biden, he has the advantage of incumbency, and he's going to be able to use what he's doing domestically and internationally to make the argument that he should get reelected. Although it's going to be hard to do that and run a campaign full time because this isn't the COVID era. He's going to have to be out there traveling, making speeches, and that's hard for anybody at any age. So I think that will be the main differences we'll see for a 2024 rematch.
Political analyst Calvin Dark, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.